Hello, you're welcome to All Math. And in today's video, we're looking at difference between a quadratic and a linear expression. We also go ahead to check the difference between a quadratic expression and a quadratic equation. Let's start with this. So to start with, what is a quadratic expression? A quadratic expression is an algebraic expression in which the highest power of variable is 2. I've explained the meaning of the word expression, okay, in my previous video. If you have not seen that, I'll drop the link in the section. When the highest power of the variable is 2, it is called a quadratic expression. The general form of a quadratic expression is this form: a, b, c. They're actually constant number. This is the highest power here, which is 2. The power for x here is 1. Of course, this one, there is no power of x here. Is that okay? Now let's look at it. A is the coefficient of x squared. So the variable with the power of 2, its coefficient is the one we refer to as a. The variable with the power of 1, which is x, right? The coefficient is what we refer to as what? As b. Now, a can never be 0 if it's a quadratic expression. Because if a is 0, you'll be having 0s squared, right? And 0s squared means 0 times s squared. Anything times 0 is what? 0. That means s squared will not be showing at all. And remember, the definition said the highest power must be 2. So that is why a cannot be 0. Once a is 0, then it's no longer a quadratic expression. And c is the constant. Now let's look at this example. 2s squared plus 5x minus 3. Okay, good. The highest power of x here is what? Is 2. Because the power of x is 2 here, the power of x here is 1. So the one with the highest power of 2, which coefficient happens to be 2 also. So a here is 2, b here is 5, and our c is what? Minus 3. Is that okay? Let's look at this other example. No, this is no longer x. Remember, a squared plus bx plus c. Okay, good. Remember, this your x can be anything actually in mathematics, just that it's usually x. We are fond of using x. But don't fix your mind that it must be x. Okay, now look at this. I actually changed it to y intentionally. Okay, now y is a variable. Good. The highest power is 2 because the power of y here is 2. The power of y here is 1. So the highest power is 2. Now let's recognize our APC. The coefficient of the highest power, which is 2, here is what? There's no coefficient, right? You know, in maths, if I write anything without a number beside it, the coefficient is actually 1. If I say boy, it means what I'm referring to one boy. If it's more than one boy, then I'll put a s. So if the coefficient is not 1, then the number must be indicated. Once it's not indicated, it shows the coefficient is 1. So our a here is 1. Now let's look at b. The coefficient of y is what? Minus 7. Okay? The one with the power of 1, the coefficient is what? Minus 7. And the constant number with that variable is what? Plus 4. Of course, which is the same as positive 4, or just have 4 like that. Let's look at this other example. Now, this is another very interesting example. The coefficient of s squared here is what? 1, because no number is there, so the coefficient is 1. So our a here is also 1. But b, which is coefficient of x, that's x with power 1, right? Do we have anything like that here? No. Yes, it's another quadratic expression, but the coefficient of x is 0 here. That's why it's not showing. Okay? And the c, 9. Taking a look at this other one, our a here is what? 8. That's the coefficient of the one with the power of 2. The one with the power of 2 must have coefficient. It cannot be 0. I explained in the previous slide. Okay? Why? Our b, yes, we have b in this case, which is the one with, which is the coefficient of x. Our b here is what? Negative 5. But we seems not to have a c. It's allowed. C can be 0. So c can be 0. So you must be able to recognize your a, your b, your c in a quadratic expression. Okay? I want you to practice this. What is your a, b, and c in this example? You can pause the video and try it. Yes, in this example, our a is 1, our B is 4. If you call it plus 4, you're still correct. And our C is 1. Now, coming to quadratic equation. A quadratic expression does not have equal sign. A quadratic equation does. Now, this difference is not only in quadratic, even in linear. Once it doesn't have an equality sign, it's just an expression. But once it has an equality sign, it's an equation, from the word equal, equation. This z squared plus 4z plus 1 is a quadratic expression because the highest power of the unknown of the variable is what? Is 2. Is that okay? But when you look at this, z squared plus 4z plus 1 equals 0. This is a quadratic equation because equality sign has been introduced to it. Equal anything, once equality has been introduced to it, is a quadratic equation. So far, you have known what is an expression, what is a quadratic expression, how to identify your A, B, and C in a quadratic expression, and what a quadratic equation is. In our next video, you're moving gradually into factorizing a quadratic expression. I'm sure you don't want to miss that. Remember to like.